what do you say? Are the demons of dark and foul magic and appearance the real bad guys when the goddesses, people that look very plain and have wings, are the ones that hide the moment? As once again, after a very long hiatus, Nanatsu no Taizai is finally back, and hopefully it will still be rolling in weekly, as it always has been. We thank you for that, and hi for those who are watching. It's the Angry MF and the Bear Reviewer. We got Nanatsu no Taizai 7th since chapter 202, 202, as I said before, pretty early here, and we got some interesting moments. We got some more in detail look about the goddesses, and once again hinting that towards you begin to wonder who is the real villain here. But it is clear, though, that it's a bit clearer that the goddess Elizabeth, who she was. Either way, this chapter starts with, of course, the spirits of Helbrem trying to wake up Harley Quinn King, but can't. And strangely enough, the Gloxnia, despite the fact that, Helbrem wasn't a friend of Gloxnia, Gloxnia can see him. Perhaps because they are both Fairy Kings. And it says that the reason why they are sleeping and in spell is actually the trial, and they will only awaken when they complete that trial. Whatever that trial is, we don't know. Either way, we see King and Diana inside the bodies of Gloxnia and Dolor fighting one of the 10 Commandments, and they're fighting pretty well. And even Meliodas saying it's nothing personal, but managed to defeat Karmadios. It actually makes me do question, it's nothing personal? You know, Meliodas, I'm seriously beginning to wonder exactly what made you betray your clan for real. Either way, before Karmadios done this dispatch, he says, I will return. And so it's over, and the rest of the demons apparently have left. Not because Goddess Elizabeth used her very huge power, but apparently Goddess Elizabeth simply talked to them, saying no one wants to fight like this. This shows also that the Goddess Elizabeth had a very, very, very kind heart. And from what we have seen from the other goddesses, it's clear that perhaps she was the only true kind goddess. Who knows? But she was a pacifist. She did not want to fight, and it's clear from her movements that she didn't really want it to happen. And they saved some humans with actually a familiar face. We meet a guy who has a short hair similar to Jericho, but a face that is somewhat very similar to Ban. And he become friends with Meliodas, calling himself Law. I wonder, is this a reincarnation too of Ban, or is this just a only six faces coincidence? Who knows? But Law here mentions the fact that during this time there was an alliance between the three races of fairies, giants, and goddesses. And apparently they were called the Stigma, aka Stigma of Light. So, and this were human forces. So they return to the base as both Diana and King in their bodies begins amazed on how much power they have. But King is not so sure about this, because after all he cannot forget what Gloxnia says. We like you to show us whether or not we made the right decision. So it's that choice. That choice. What is that choice? And if King and Diana in Dolor and Gloxnia's body also makes that choice, then they will fail. I think. I mean, it's the fact that we would like for you to show us whether or not we made the right decision. Perhaps meaning that they themselves do not even know. Although I'm actually a bit skeptical. Are they really that kind as they say they are? I am really skeptical. Although we're getting answers, and that's the thing I've always been doing. What? So In the new forest of the Fairy King, it's clear that the forest of the Fairy Kings actually blossom depending on the power of the Fairy King, because this Fairy King forest is very huge. And in the middle is a very huge tower where giants, fairies, and many things more happens. And there we met a familiar face with big breasts. It none other than that cowardly goddess Nero Basta, who I mean, she wasn't exactly so liked when we saw her the first time, and who can blame us? The first thing we saw of her was nothing more than pure arrogance and cowardice, and the fact that she says to think it will take three people just to drive away one of the Ten Commandments shows maybe a little deep of arrogance. And so another person appears, uh, as Nerobasta tells them to kneel, for she is our guide, and shows, well, unless this is a wrong translation, I think this is the most mannish looking goddess I have ever seen. Well, given to the fact that the clan's name were goddesses, I actually highly doubt that there are any males on it, but I could be wrong. The fact is that this translation calls this for Lady Ludociel. And let me tell you, given to the fact that half of the body is covered with a coat, the fact that Lady Lucille wears an armor, and the fact that the face looks very similar to uh, Guilla, Guilla, was that her name? The exploding girl. Well, granted, however, that was one was a girl, but she was also a little bit boyish look. I gotta say that looks only half and half boyish and half female. So yeah, I'm a bit surprised. And apparently, we have introduced to one of the four great angel seraphs, Lady Ludociel, who welcomes them to for all this. And it's clear from Meliodas' face that he does not trust them. But Ludociel says that the conclusion to the whole award have been waiting for. Elizabeth wonders, can we finally have peace with the demon race? But Ludociel says with a very horrifying face, the time has come to eradicate the demons. So that's what I mean when I say, who is the real villain in this? Don't get me wrong, I will not defend the demons for all of their cruelty and the fact that they mock humanity, but I at the same time understand why they look down and despise humanity, because humanity, as we have seen in the entire of 2016, is nothing more than a depraved, nothing are only full of depravity, selfishness, and only listening to things we wanted to have. So I can understand why they look down on humans. However, that still doesn't explain exactly why the angels, the goddess clans, were so determined to eradicate them. It is also a bit surprising the fact that Meliodas seemingly was welcome into Stigma. However, given the fact that he had a face of seriousness when Ludociel came forward, I do not think he is highly trusted. And after all, the Goddess clan said they wanted him slain, for reasons we still do not know. So for now, it seems that the goddess Elizabeth is the only pure, kind-hearted goddess ever. She wanted to have peace with the demons. She wanted all of them to live in peace. I think that has something to do with her love for Meliodas. She was in love with Meliodas. Meliodas was in love with him, almost like a Romeo and Juliet situation, so to speak. And she only wanted peace. She didn't want destruction. But others did not share her ideals. So what is this choice? That makes me wonder. After all, we cannot forget what Meliodas said about the two choices that Dolor and Gloxner went through. So either way, some minor familiar faces. It could be only 6 faces, but who knows? Connections between time is not something we should never look down on. But finally, the Goddess clan is more and more revealed. Things are getting interesting. Give me your thoughts if you have any.